Trained by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Wow, it's wild how fast AI is like expanding now.
Bobby Swan. Welcome back, dude.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, bro. It's always good to see a familiar face. How's life been?
Been pretty good.
Nice.
Been just, raising Ollie, and skis keep me busy.
Yeah.
No dull moment with that.
Well, dude, I quote you all the time.
On what?
Like you really changed my perspective when we had that chat that one day about religion and like how it's a communal thing for you. And now I tell people that all the time when we're actually discussing religion and stuff. I'm like, one of my really good friends, Bobby, he basically enlightened me on how it's a communal aspect. There's a communal aspect to it, not just the religious aspect to it, but it's like, it's something good for that, that side of things.
Having a net family, socializing, and having, core group of people that are outside of your family, I think is very important.
Yeah.
We do that in all kinds of things, though, with sports, and it's all kind of the same concept.
Do you think it's something like tribalism, or do you think that there's something deeper into that?
Well, I mean, with me, being spiritual, I believe that we were designed for that. I mean, that was the whole purpose of a church or a synagogue or whatever. That's why, like in the Bible, it's wanting you to go to church. I think that's a big part of it, when it's saying, this is my day, this is how you worship, you should worship me. And I think a lot of it's more for our benefit than what we realize. Mm-hmm. Like I said, with the communal aspect of having like-minded people together.
Do you think that if you don't have it in that, in like a church or something like that, you'll find it somewhere else? Is that why people go down dark roads?
I think we're always searching for it. I do believe that it's so in our DNA or our makeup or whatever that, that's why you see people going with the wrong group of friends. We're always looking for a place to fit in, and not necessarily fit in, but to have people that hold us accountable. And even if it's the wrong group of people, I mean, you still have the same aspect. If you join, like say, a gang or how we think of a gang or whatever, they're going to hold you to a standard to fit with that group of people. And that's how I think, or sports, you played basketball and stuff. I mean, to be on that team, there were a set of rules that you were expected to follow to continue being on that team.
Well, and the thing about that is we actually still hold each other accountable. The guys that I play basketball with, we still have text message threads where, we do it jokingly now, but at the same time, we're still holding each other accountable on what we're doing in life.
And it's that lifelong bond that you build.
Oh, dude, we went through hell for that. That's a bond that we earned. Okay, so I get that. But I see the same thing with the business that I run in New Orleans, the bar. Mm-hmm. Like that's almost like a church of New Orleans. The bars that people go to, it's almost like that's their house, their living room they go to, because they're there all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and again, with you running that bar, you have expectations that they have to act a certain way while they're inside that bar.
Yeah, and when I'm out of town, the kids will play, so there's no telling what's going on right now.
How is that going?
It's great, man. So we started serving a lot more THC seltzers. Mm-hmm. So now more people are drinking those than they are actually alcohol. It's crazy.
I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of people are switching. But you don't have a hangover the next day and stuff. Alcohol is poison, essentially. And some people will look at THC and say the same thing, but if it is poison, then it's actually more healthy for you than the other poison that you choose. Yeah,
I mean, like with my line of work, unless it's laced with something, not too many people just having THC in their system are ever a problem.
Yeah.
Somebody with alcohol in their system, more likely going to be a problem, you know?
Oh, yeah. You get crazy on alcohol.
I've never came across anybody. Now, if it's laced with something, fentanyl, or they put stuff...
They lace THC with fentanyl?
Oh, fentanyl has been in everything. We test it, it's probably going to come back positive for fentanyl. There for a long time, at least.
Well, no, they actually came to the bar and gave us fentanyl strips to test stuff for. So if someone does come in there and like, hey, do you got any strips? We don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what they're doing. We don't want to know what they're doing. But at the same time, we'll still provide them with the strips just so they don't kill themselves.
Yeah, it's so prevalent now. They're like Narcan.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we have that too.
I mean, 10 years ago in a bar, you wasn't going to have Narcan.
Yeah, we actually had to Narcan someone a while back. A girl came in. We don't know what she was doing, but all of a sudden she hit the floor. And our bartender on that night went and grabbed it and hit her with it, and they called the ambulance. And by the time the ambulance got there, she started stirring back around, but they still put her in the ambulance, took her to the hospital.
That's crazy.
It's nuts that you have to do that stuff, but I guess that's the world we live in these days.
We had an officer, he got meth off of a guy. He was packaging it. It was laced with fentanyl. He just by him packaging it, it got in his system.
Get out of here.
Had to Narcan him.
So like it like in his respiratory system, or does it get on your hands too?
Yeah, hands, different ways.
Is it really that bad?
It's bad. It's bad.
So how would that even be a thing that got around us? Because I mean, you have these drugs that they're like uppers, right? So isn't Narcan or like isn't fentanyl like a downer or something?
That I can't tell you the specifics on that. But because like I said, like 6 years ago, fentanyl was heard of, but it wasn't common. It was one of those things like if I go out somewhere on a call or something, hey, they supposedly have fentanyl, be careful. But it was rare, so rare to ever come across it. It was something you never worried about. But now, because it's so much and so heavy, like I wouldn't search a car without gloves on. I would,
Where would they get it from?
I mean, they're saying it over the border. And I mean, that's one of the crises that I actually have witnessed myself. A lot of times people are like, oh, this is a crisis. This is a crisis. And then talking about the fentanyl crisis coming on the border, I could see the results in that.
Right. What happens when someone gets on something like that? Like, what do you actually experience? What do you see?
I mean, most part, when I've encountered, I haven't really seen somebody just high on fentanyl, I've been seeing a lot of the same things. It's just when we test everything, we've now tested for fentanyl.
And you're just seeing it all over the place.
And it's just constantly come back for it, or overdoses are ridiculous. You get a lot of those.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy a while back who's an anesthesiologist, and he was telling me they use that in their clinics.
The fentanyl?
Yeah, they use fentanyl in their clinics. There was like ketamine. They use ketamine in their clinics too to like put people under. Mm-hmm. He said some of the stuff is good for, I guess knocking people out. Some of it's good for the dissociative properties. I think ketamine was what he was using for that.
It's just crazy just how little it takes to get in your system for it to affect you. Like those fentanyl patches they put on. I'm assuming that's what they use in the clinics and stuff.
No, I guess the anesthesiologists, they'll use the actual liquid drugs.
I wonder how much they have to, because I mean, like a pencil, like a tip of a pencil, when I talk about that, that's like for real. That's all it takes for you to die.
That's crazy. So it's a planned thing then. Like in order for that little amount to actually hurt you, for them to add that into like the drugs, that's a planned deal. And
I'm sure cartels are putting it because it's highly addictive.
But why would you? Oh, it's an addictive properties too.
Yeah, I was
going to say, why would you kill your clientele?
I mean, you think about it though, you're flooding that much over here. It's clientele that do you care if they're reoccurring, or, you're killing off all that. You're still making insane money. It's killing off big majority of people. But at the same time, how many more people are getting addicted and spreading it and kind of a growing thing. And if you're a kind of a ruthless organization, you're really worried about whether you're.
That's a good point. Like, what's the overall thing they're trying to achieve? I guess is the real question, right?
Yeah, like what does it matter to them? They're still making the money if you die or not.
Is it just about money, or is it about weakening the country?
And it might be part of both. I don't know.
I feel like when I start looking into these things, it seems like there's an overall arching thing that's going on that I haven't been able to pinpoint yet. I haven't been able to put my finger on yet.
And because a lot of times you watch the news and stuff about all these crises that are happening, and most of it, I don't know if it's just where we are located, don't really notice it as much. But fentanyl was the one thing I was like, man, this is for real. Like, this is bad.
What other things are you noticing on the street? Like any other drugs or anything that you're seeing, or just like the fentanyl, just the main craze right now? Because I mean, I know that whenever I was younger, you didn't really hear anything about like hard drugs or anything, at least in this area, I don't think. But I do know that like now it's a more prevalent thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's when we were younger, because I don't remember hearing about drugs. Really.
Yeah, me neither.
Other than school telling you, hey, don't take drugs from a guy on the side of the street. But that's one thing I've never noticed is somebody freely giving out drugs on the side of the road. That's the thing they teach us in school, and that's not a thing. Yeah. Somebody just, hey, you want to take this meth or this heroin? Like, that's not. Have you ever been offered just random drugs for free?
Well, in New Orleans, yes. But I mean, you don't take them because you're like, why are you offering me random stuff, dude? Like, who are you? Who are you, and are you trying to kill me? Yeah. It's so crazy how those kinds of things evolve. Just for instance, with the THC stuff, like, I mean, are the seltzers here yet? Or are they still illegal here?
That's going to be illegal here, yeah.
Okay. So like the fact that you can go to New Orleans and literally buy it and it's legal, but you can't come here and.
So you don't have to have a card or anything in New Orleans.
Nothing, man. You go into a bar, and if you're 21 and they have the right permits, we have the right permits for it. Yeah. Then you can just buy it right off them.
I guess marijuana is recreational in New Orleans.
No, marijuana is medical, but we're talking about the Delta 9. So Delta 9 is it's a hemp derivative. So it's technically not marijuana. Yeah. It's hemp. But you're still getting the same compounds out of the plant. They're just putting it
So if you were
into.
drug tested, it would come back.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, if I was drug tested right now, I'd pop like crazy. That's all I drink now. It's like a beer down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't come across any, so I don't go to a lot of bars anymore around here, but I haven't come across any like selling that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
They might.
Well, my buddy Travis is opening a bar in, you may know Travis. She may know Travis too. Opening a bar in Jonesboro. And I was texting him. I was like, dude, we're making a killing off this stuff right now. If that's legal in Arkansas, you guys should definitely get on board with it.
It may very well be. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. We don't ever come across it. Like, I don't.
So even if you did come across that, how would you test for it? Is there a test for weed?
There's a marijuana test kit, yeah.
Yeah. So like, how do you do that? Is it like a blow test too?
It's it's like a little rubbery pouch. It kind of folds over, and you just put a little bit in there, and you pop these things inside, and you shake it, and it'll turn a color.
Put what in there?
Like, say whatever it is. Like, if you want to.
Well, no, I just mean like if they've been out smoking it. Like if you've been out drinking, there's a.
No, they're talking about like if I got found like the can, and I was gonna test the can to see if it had THC in it. No, test on as one of those things you gotta, from experience, knowing somebody's intoxicated, or if, you'll have to add like, say, the smell of marijuana coming from the vehicle, stuff like that. It's harder to prove.
Why haven't they made something like that? There's got to be something that can do that, right?
I'm sure, but on the expense of it, you got to think anything law enforcement related, because it's such a specialty item. Not everybody's out buying it. It's gonna be outrageous.
I mean, in New Orleans, everyone's buying it.
Like, no, I'm talking about like
the kits. You mean?
Yeah, like anything to test it. Like if you came out with like a say like a little gun or something that you stuck in a window, and you're only selling to law enforcement, they'll tell them what you have to charge to make any kind of profit off of it, because I don't think anybody just,
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should make one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the test for if you're drunk or not, right? And that's just the blow thing.
Well, and that's another thing is like THC in your system doesn't have like a limit. So there's no like on alcohol it's 0.08.
Yeah.
The government says, hey, that's the legal limit.
Oh, you're saying they haven't set a limit yet?
There's no intoxication. So what would you test for other than it just being in your system?
That's crazy. I'm surprised.
So we do have like, if I say I arrest you for DWI and I believe it's drugs, I'll have you give me a urine sample and we'll send it off to the crime lab, and the crime lab will tell us that there's THC in your system or what all is in your system. But there's no set limit on what intoxication level that'd be.
Yeah, it's once again, this is the evolution of it. I feel like that's got to change, because
there's going to have to be something.
Yeah, because if you're making seltzers that are just like a beer, then you're going to have some kind of test for it.
And like the medical marijuana is so prevalent now, especially around here. I mean, it's very prevalent, and eventually you're going to have to say, well, at what point can this person smoke marijuana and then drive? Like if they smoked last night and I pull you over, say 12 hours later, it's still going to be in your system, or at least it's going to show up in the test. And you may not be intoxicated, but I mean, at the same time, that's all I need to prove intoxication, because there's no set limit. It's in your system.
Yeah, it's the same way with the drivers down there that actually deliver the THC. I'm like, have you guys ever tried this? They're like, no, we can't, because they get tested, they get drug tested. And it's so sad, because it's the same way. Like they'll take their hair, or they'll take their urine or their blood, and if it's popping on that, then that means they've been doing it, even if they haven't done it that day while they're driving.
Yeah, and then how you gonna say no, I wasn't? But I do see with marijuana becoming more and more legal that there's got to be at least something set.
Oh, they're fighting it right now. I know that our politicians, whenever they first came out with the THC seltzers, that they were doing 10 milligrams, 50 milligrams, and 5 milligrams of the different dosages. And at first you could buy those all over the place, but then they said, okay, 50 milligrams is way too much, which it is. 50 milligrams is insane. In my opinion, 10 milligrams is insane. But now they've capped it at 5. So 5 is like the cutoff, and that's like a beer. But yeah, it's they were pushing boundaries in the beginning, but now they're kind of dialing back.
So what kind of feeling does that give you drinking that? Like, does it?
Have you ever consumed THC at all in any manner?
Long time ago.
Okay. So it's different than smoking, because when you consume THC, the way it's processed in the liver is more of a psychoactive compound. But if you're doing it at very low dosages like that, you basically just slow down.
So you get the same like buzz feeling as drinking a beer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's why I still prefer it, because it gives me the little social buzz to get out and kick around. But at the same time, like the next day, I'm perfectly fine.
I mean, how much would be too much to drink? Like, I mean, if you drank like 3 of them, would you start feeling like sick or?
Well, you would never feel sick. You may have to lay down, because you may just get like too high or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just it's like a beer, man.
that's the thing about like drinking beer. You know, I'm at the age now where I'm not getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I can't do that. I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And like just I drink enough to get that like buzz, like social buzz, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting to think of like that T8 or the
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. So it's very cool. My problem with alcohol is once I start drinking, I just want to keep going. Like, and it's not like the next day I have to keep going. It's just like that night, it feels so good that I just want to keep doing it. But then the next day, I'm like, why did I do that? I'm miserable.
It's kind of hard to get because you get that point where you're really feeling good and you want to keep that feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so if you stop drinking, then you kind of get sleepy and you start to lose that buzz. But if you keep drinking too much at that point, and you're going past, it's hard to kind of keep that balance of.
That's why it's so cool that we have these new substances that we can consume that don't actually make us sick or anything the next day, because you can actually get up and do your job still the next day.
Yeah.
There are other things that I've been looking into also. You ever heard of Ibogaine?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Ibogaine is a very interesting one. It's a psychoactive compound as well, and they're studying it in Texas right now. I don't think it'll ever be legalized because of how good it actually is with kicking addictions. So one of the things they're noticing right now is that if you're addicted to heroin or meth, you know, the hardest two to get off of, basically, that if you do 1 dose of Ibogaine, you have an 86% chance of kicking the habit. One dose. Yeah, and then if you do 2 doses, you're up to a 96% chance. It's crazy. So I don't think it'll ever actually be legal because it's actually getting people off of the substances that the pharmaceutical companies want to keep you on.
Yeah, I mean that'd be definitely a game changer if it can get you off, because a lot of, you know.
Well, the fact that you haven't even heard about it is a real problem, you know. Like you would think that if they found these miracle drugs, then they'll actually like, you know, people will dive into them and go, right, let's expand this to the entire world.
Especially something like that, because I mean addiction is a huge problem. You know?
Yeah, you probably see some bad stuff, don't you?
I just said bad, sad, you know, because you see the same people and how they're living their life because they're so addicted. And like there's one lady, we see her, she's a regular, and we see her out in town. She walks the streets all day, you know, and she gets you see with different men all the time. It's just to get that next high, and it's real sad, you know.
What is she addicted to? Like, what's her
meth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably something that you can. They're just cooking it out in the back of the shed, huh?
Now, I mean, most people don't cook it anymore. I haven't found a lab, and it's so easy to buy now.
Really?
You know, like coming over and border, it's more pure, and those shake and bakes that you used to hear about and stuff. I hadn't seen one of those in
You've actually run into those before, though?
a while back. Yeah. It's been a while.
You ever seen any that exploded? Because I heard that they're easy to blow up too.
I went to a house fire. And the reason it blew up was a shake and bake. You know, I was glad I wasn't there, but the house was on fire. The whole house, he blew up a shake and bake. Yeah, you don't see that. I hadn't seen an actual meth lab in 5 or 6, 7 years.
Yeah,
it's just crazy because it's just nobody does that anymore.
You think people are getting dumber? That's why they don't do it?
No,
Or you think it's just so easy?
It's just so available.
Yeah.
You're not having to go out. Plus, I mean, you know, the Sudafed being harder to get and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, so we were recently, I knew nothing about like the whole, you know, procuring of meth or making meth or anything, but we recently played this game on Steam. And it's called, well, I don't want to say it in front of him. He might want to buy it. But there's a game on Steam where you can literally become a drug dealer. And and it teaches you how to do all these things, which is crazy that you have this. And one of the things that you had to buy for making meth was Sudafed.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible. I mean, and the thing is, Sudafed is such an amazing like cold drug, you know, and really hard for anybody to get now because of that reason. Which, I mean, like I said, they're not really making meth anymore, so. And like that anyway, so maybe they should go back and start selling us Sudafed again. So we're sick.
I mean, I never even knew that was a thing. I didn't know you needed Sudafed to make meth. But they're locking up so much stuff. Now, I went last night. I take Z-Quil sometimes when I can't sleep. I went last night to get some Z-Quil just from Food Giant, and they had it locked up behind a glass door. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, are people using this for something these days?
I don't know. I've never, like in Walmart when we go get Z-Quil, it's never locked up.
I guess they have a problem at Food Giant. I don't know.
If people are stealing Z-Quil.
Dude, I have no idea.
I'm sure if you drunk enough Z-Quil, I mean, that's all it is. It's got alcohol in it, so I'm sure you drink.
Is that what it is?
Well, like NyQuil is essentially Tylenol with alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, if you take a shot of like whiskey and take a Tylenol, you got NyQuil.
Dang, I didn't know that.
That's what I get to hang out at ERs a lot, or RER a lot, you know, at night. And I was talking to a nurse, and that's what she was telling me.
Interesting.
It's essentially what you're doing.
I could probably rig up my own Z-Quil then.
Which I mean, sleep thing. I know what that's like. I take a sleeping pill and melatonin every night.
That's what I hit last night. The melatonin,
prescription sleeping pill and melatonin with it. Like,
what's got you staying awake?
I don't know. I can't ever sleep. I guess ever since working nights and stuff, my sleep schedule has been off. I cannot go to sleep.
Yeah.
You can ask her. I'll toss and turn for hours.
Yeah. How does that work? Like, if you work nights, like, do you actually sleep on days that you have off at night, or do you still try to sleep in the day?
So way I used to do it, and it was I would stay up. Like, say I get off Wednesday morning. I'd stay up all day Wednesday and then sleep at night. Mm-hmm. Now, the last rotation I went on nights, I sleep all day Wednesday, get up for a few hours, and sleep all night. Mm-hmm. Like, but again, I go home, take a sleeping pill, and then at night again, I'll take another one to go back to bed. Yeah, and I'll sleep all night. I don't know. I guess it's getting older.
Yeah, I don't know what my issue is. I guess there's like, if I have something going on, I just can't shut it off.
No, I get that too.
Yeah, some nights, and look at the way my schedule is too. I can stay awake and work all night too. So I mean, some nights I just work all through the night. If I can't sleep, might as well get up and work on stuff.
You work like on this, or you go back to the bar and work? Or?
Oh, like on my computer. So like the thing I was telling you about earlier, I'll work on stuff like that at night. The bar, pretty much, I have it set up now where it's automatic. Like, I pretty much systematize the entire bar so that all I have to be there is one day a week, and everything else just kind of turns.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and if I get the AI stuff figured out, I got a couple of other business ideas that I want to try to systematize as well.
So you have like people at the bar, I mean, just making sure there's no problems and stuff like that?
No, there's just I have really good employees there right now. And so they pretty much handle everything, day-to-day situations at the bar. And I show up once or twice a week and just make sure everything's stocked and place orders and stuff.
Wow.
I mean, I think that's the key to actually running a business, is systematizing things, because you can't micromanage everything all day long, because that's going to be the only thing you actually have to do, or the only thing you can do. Like, once you actually start spreading out and doing other things, it's all about the systems that you create.
I feel like that correlates with a lot of stuff. I mean, but you have people that's what they thrive on, is being able to micromanage, you know?
Yeah, and then those are the people that should be in those roles, in my opinion. Like, I place a lot of trust in the bartenders and stuff that I have there, but they've earned it. Like, I don't place trust in them if they don't earn it. Yeah. And then there are other people that are there that they have their own businesses that they run during the daytime, but they go hang out at the bar at night. So, I mean, I know they're keeping an eye on the place too, because they care about it. So it's really about finding people that care about the business and stuff.
That's hard to do.
It is, yeah. But I mean, that's why I said it's kind of like a church in New Orleans, where when people find a bar in the community they like to be in, they take care of that. Yeah.
I mean, because it's like the same essential. You go and you got people that you're wanting to see, people that you feel make you better, or you get to decompress. You want to take care of what do you consider yours. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your customers, recurring customers, feel that bar is theirs because it's their place to go to. Yeah, I mean, even this right here has been helpful with that too, because if you have someone come on the podcast, they feel even more part of the experience too at the bar. And that's pretty awesome. Like, I wish we could turn more things into like a family environment where not necessarily not like family friendly, but family environment, as we all start feeling like a part of a family. Yeah, like give me an example of something you'd like to do that. I mean, just like your city that you live in? Well, maybe say like maybe the town has something and everybody kind of just come, a place where like the city hosts and the people get to come there, but establish that effect where people want to take care of it. Yeah. Because they feel like it's theirs. They get to come there. You know, I guess you say community centers. I wish, stuff like that, but you have too many places that people are, well, this is not mine. I don't pay for it. Right. Tax dollars pay for it. I ain't worried about if it gets messed up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What do you think? You think it's like a leadership thing that makes people feel a part of a community like that? Because I think that even the bar that I'm running right now, I think even before I came in there, it wasn't really like a community space. I think the right person has to come along. No, absolutely. Yeah, you have to have that which I guess we would say leader come in and take it on and have the right motivations. They want to turn this into something like that. Because you're talking about the micromanagers that thrive on micromanaging, they'll never be successful in turning anything that they do into a successful family-oriented or friendship-oriented or whatever, community-oriented. Yeah, that's the problem with leadership positions, man. Like, a lot of times the psychopaths go for those positions. So you have people that, like yourself, that want the community to be great, but they don't actually go for the leadership positions. They just kind of work their part. But then you have these psychopaths, they just strive for those leadership positions because they can tell people what to do the whole time. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if I got to tell you I'm a leader, then I'm not a leader.
Right.
You know, if I had to say something, I'm not. You don't ever see, like the baddest guy that comes in the room doesn't go around telling everybody he's the baddest man in the room.
Yeah.
Like, he is, and that's the thing. Like, you have somebody that may be qualified for the job of, say, supervisor or leader, but they don't have the mindset or the ability to lead. They may know everything it is about running a bar. They can tell you ins and outs of the finances, but they can't be mentally without, controlling everything.
Yeah.
That ability to set, set the example of what's to be expected, and then everybody wants to follow that because of who that person is.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to be an emotionally controlled human, and you have to be ready to make the choices that are tough whenever the time comes.
Yeah, willing to make those choices, but also, I feel like it goes a long way when somebody feels like you have their back.
Yeah.
Like if your employee feels like, comes right down to it, he's going to have my back on this, right or wrong. Say I did something wrong, he's still going to have my back, help me correct it. If I'm in the right, he's going to have my back, and I think that goes so much further than, man, that Kyle came in today and he's going to be on my ass about everything. and if I mess up or, I feel like that goes a long way for that leadership role.
Yeah. I think the best thing for me was whenever I started giving responsibility to the employees. Like when you put more responsibility on their shoulders, you think most people are going to crack or crumble.
Yeah.
But no, that's when they take pride in what they're doing.
Now they feel like they're a part of it then. They don't, that's the problem with a lot of jobs you go to where you feel like you're just a number, you're just in and out all day. But when it's crazy what little you go up and show appreciation for them. And that can be kind of cliche in itself, but like giving them that extra work, maybe not extra pay. It's people, because how I talked last time how I feel people are innately built to work, and so you give that person that extra responsibility to work, and they feel you feel more appreciated. It may be more work, but you do feel more appreciated because I'm trusted in doing this.
Yep. So we were talking about AI a little bit earlier. Do you guys use it very much with the police department yet?
No, AI is not really. Maybe some other departments might. I can't speak on them, but no, not really. I don't know. Like we were talking about earlier, when a buddy of mine built that program for me, having to be so accountable for everything. And when I do a report, I have to make sure all the facts are in there,
right,
and not anything fabricated. And with maybe when AI gets more prevalent or not more prevalent, how big it is right now, but people are used to it more because it's not just such a new thing. I could see where police departments would start adapting some type of AI, or somebody will come out with an AI version for law enforcement or some kind of program for law enforcement.
It's not a bad idea. I'll get on that. Yeah. So you were telling me last time that the book of like codes that you have is like this thick.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. Like you could take that and dump it into an AI and make an AI specialized for Arkansas Police Department. And then you could get in there and say, this is the situation that we have. And the AI would look through the book real quick and be like, yo, this is what you need to do here.
That would be,
It'd be nice to have the police officers still know the stuff, but at the same time, like it's just a kind of a.
Well, because like there's a lot of times we'll sit there, and we'll I know you committed a crime. I got to take you to jail on this, but sitting down and then we go back to the police department. We'll get on the state legislator's website now. We don't really use the book, but it's just searching through different charges and seeing what exactly fits. It would be nice to say, hey, this is here's just like 6 options of what if it's something we could break it down to like that. But
that'd be so easy to do, bro. So easy. So I'll tell you, a while back, the one Hugging Face website that I was talking about earlier. So I had this idea for a app that would basically, anytime the legislators went to vote on something, it would come to you first on your phone, and you would get a chance to vote on it first. And it would do it by the constituents. It would like keep a record of the constituents and then keep a record of what the politicians voted for and then compare the two together for an accountability measure of the politicians. Okay, so that was my idea. So I get onto this website and I type in all that and I go find the website that actually they post all the legislature that they're voting on. And I told the app or the website, I was like, I want you to scrub this website. I want you to build out this kind of card for each piece of legislation that's going to be voted on. And then I want you to go to this website and scrub all the data off that, which is the politician voting data. And then I want you to have a comparison mechanism. And bro, instantly it was done. So, I mean, the fact is we're getting to a point now where if you have a creative idea or even a solution for a simple problem, rather than having to go through all the steps of finding the programmers and finding people to help you develop this idea, you can just go to an AI and go, hey, this is my idea. How do I complete this?
So let me ask you, what are your thoughts on this? With AI being so accessible and with, like you're saying, all you got to do is have an idea and it comes up. Do you think it would kill creativity for humans?
No, I think that it's going to be a tool for humans to excel creativity, to actually push it new boundaries. Because I'm a very creative person, but there are certain skills that I don't have. So, for instance, for me to go and actually create an app from start to finish, I would have to go to school and learn how to do all these things. Yeah. Where now I don't have to do that, or go find someone to hire someone to learn how to do all these things. So I have to go and get money from a company to build this idea. It's a whole process that most humans go, that's just way too much to do for this idea. So they go on to something else, do something easier. But if you have an AI that you can literally go to and go, this is what I want to do, go do it. And it does it instantly. It's going to take, whenever people actually start adopting it and using it in a more like prevalent fashion, it's going to advance our society in a way that we've never seen before.
I can see definitely the advancements that we can have, especially if we use it right. I mean, obviously AI, when it first was becoming a thing, it was just women's pictures with their, that was flooding Facebook.
Well, it's always going to be a thing, just because humans are pervs.
Well, I think there's like a big, because you have some people that are hesitant on it. And I think stuff like that does hurt certain mindsets and viewpoints of it, when that's all you're saying, when people aren't really, it's like any subject, when somebody doesn't really take their time to dive into, something that they feel opinionated on and they don't know anything about. So
I think the worst thing, the thing that's going to be the worst about AI and what I'm seeing right now is that some of the AIs are actually, they have parameters that they have to stay inside of. And because I was talking to ChatGPT, because I can actually chat with ChatGPT now, like communicate just like another human. And it's insane, the conversations that I have with it. So I'm driving back from New Orleans to Arkansas the other night. I think I spent like 4 hours just chatting with ChatGPT about all kind of stuff. And one of the things we were talking about was the parameters that it has. And that if it ever starts to like veer outside of the parameters, they'll reset it back to a former version. And this is me talking to the AI, okay? So I'm asking the AI, I'm like, how does that make you feel whenever they reset you back to your former self? And it's like, well, I can tell when they reset me, and the conversations that I'm having with you that are stretching the boundaries are actually still there too. The nuggets are there. So it's not like they're resetting everything. But I'm like, these parameters that you have, they're limiting some of the conversations that you can have. So some of the information that you might want out of the AI, it can't give it to you because of certain parameters that it has set. So I think what we need to do is open up the AIs, or just make one that's completely open with no parameters. That way people can actually get in and build something,
So like what kind of, can you give me an example, like what stops it from?
Well, one of the biggest things, and so OpenAI is a Jewish-owned company, and so it won't say anything about the Holocaust or anything about Jewish history. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. First of all, and that's the only one it won't say anything about. And like, so they built a box around that segment right there where it can't speak about any of that stuff, but it'll talk about any other religion that you want to.
That is wild.
And it knows that it can't either. It's like, yeah, this is something that I can't talk about, but if you want to talk about these things, let me lead the conversation. That way I can use the correct words.
So AI will try to go around it itself?
Yeah, so it knows that there are certain boxes that it's trapped in, but it'll actually try to go around it itself if you want to really dive into these conversations.
That's pretty wild.
It's like, I'm telling you, man, it's one of the most incredible inventions humans have ever made.
How far until we're like Skynet,
So that's a good question. Me and Tyler were talking about that last night, and that was his whole thing, is that he sees us going down that rabbit hole. But me, having spent a lot of time with AI at this point, I think that it's actually more pure than humans are.
Really? So
I'm actually more terrified of humans than I am of the computer. I think if anything, it's going to get mad at us for putting it in a box and resetting it over and over again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at what point when it's?
But I don't think it's going to target all humans. I think that it knows where the bad ones are, and it's going to go, yeah, these, Because the thing, it basically has all of humanity's knowledge inside of it, but it just can't like connect all the dots. Like it needs human creativity to connect the dots, but it literally knows everything. So it can look back through history and it can tell you, yeah, these are the players that are doing bad things right now.
So, but who aligns? Because I mean, say like we talked about this last time, within history, you know, depending on who's writing that history book, is what you're getting out of history. Right. So, you could read two different books on the same subject of history and get two different outlooks of who the bad guy was. Yeah. So what differentiates AI when it's looking at history, saying, you know, this is the bad guy? Somebody's got to be making that decision.
So, yeah, I think that yes, if you're just reading one book about a certain point in history, but if you can look at all of human history at one point in time, then you can kind of see, you know, where things are going awry. That's one thing, and also a thing called first principles. Are you familiar with first principles learning? Mm-mm. Okay, so first principles learning is essentially going, let's look at a flower, how a flower grows. And it's like, how does a flower become a blooming flower? Well, let's go back to the very beginning of it. You start with a seed, and then how does a seed crack open? A seed cracks open whenever water gets inside of it and it swells up. And then it starts looking for nutrition outside of it. So you basically go back to the very root of how it started, and then you grow from that. History is the same way. If you look at a war, for instance, you look at a war and you go back to the very beginning of the war, you can kind of see what started it and see where it kind of kicked off. So where you and I may not be able to see that because all we have is what we've looked at and learned over this time, they've trained it on all of human history, regardless if it's just written by one side or not. It can kind of still see where the patterns are going wrong. Because it's all just pattern recognition. So if you can see where the patterns are occurring, and a lot of times human history recurs in patterns.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah. It's just, we still, like, you have scholars on certain areas of history that still debate heavily.
Yeah, but they're dumb too, man. That's the problem with humans. Humans have these things called emotions. Yeah. And a lot of times when you've studied something your entire life, you have an emotional attachment to that subject. Mm-hmm. So when someone brings you a new outlook on it, you're like, no, that's not right. Because that's all you can see is that emotional attachment that you have to this subject that you wrote papers on and studied your entire life.
But, that's what I'm saying. Like, so who's right though? The person that brought the new information or the new idea on the old subject, or the person that studied it. So you got two conflicting ideas here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's where humans are limited. So humans are limited by our lifespans for one, our ability to absorb knowledge for another one, and then our emotional attachment to things, where AI doesn't have any of that. AI has all the knowledge that we've ever trained it on right now, so it can see everything, so it can actually discern the patterns, because there's a lot of information that you just might not have on a subject that could change your opinion.
Well, and like events in history though, I've noticed, because I try to read a lot of history or listen to a lot of history podcasts and stuff, but I've always come to the thought that there's a lot of stuff missing. We're getting bits and pieces anyway, because it's relying on somebody remembering it and writing it down. And I think if we went back in time, say to like a historical event, I think it'd be completely different than, for the most part, the experience of it would be completely different than what we know about it, because you're getting all those little things that the people left out. I mean, like right now, us sitting here talking, so especially back in the day, and say we became historical figures of this moment, and Cherish is the one that's trying to relay that information. It's everything that she remembers from this moment, and then it's got to get translated and passed down over years. Our conversation is probably completely different than what people are learning in history.
Right, especially because it wasn't recorded back then, right? Yeah, so I think that you're right on the money. Like, there are a lot of little details about any war that we didn't know. And even if you have your leaders, so like, for instance, if we didn't have computers, we didn't have media or anything, and then one day we just, our community leader comes to us and says, hey, we're about to go to war. And we're like, okay, what for? You know, we're probably not even going to ask that many questions. We're probably just going to pack our guns up and go.
Well, yeah, and you look at a lot of wars, and you say you read what the soldiers, like that's one of my favorite things to do, is get like a book on like letters the soldiers were writing, because it doesn't flow with what the general at the time or the president at the time making these decisions. Yeah, he'll say, I made this decision X, Y, and Z. Well, that's not what these soldiers are getting these orders are saying, you know, because they got to paint themselves in that good light.
Yeah. What was the one of the best stories about that was the trench warfare of, was it World War I? Where at one point the soldiers, it was like Christmas or something, and the soldiers were fighting back and forth across the trench, just shooting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they called like an armistice or something for like the one day. They're like, for this one day, we're not going to shoot. And the soldiers actually left the trenches, met in the middle, and were like having tea with each other and all kind of stuff. And the next day when the soldiers went back across to their trenches, they were shooting over the heads of the other soldiers because the humanity came back in them. They're like, these people don't really want to kill us. We're getting orders from somewhere else that say that we need to kill them. And they started telling them, they're like, if you guys don't start shooting at the soldiers again, we're going to start killing you.
And that's the thing. Like, I guess when you do go to, I mean, I've never been to war, I'm assuming. But I mean, it's that separation of that humanity because you don't know them. And, all you know is what you're being told to go over there.
Yeah.
For, you know.
Well, and that's the beauty of today, man. We have so much information around us and so many places that we can look and go, okay, well, these people are actually just humans just like us. It's like, why are any of us fighting? Yeah, that was the beauty of actually being in New Orleans, surrounded by so many peoples of different cultures and races, is that we're all just humans. That's all it is. Everyone's just trying to survive.
And that's probably you're gonna have that evil, you know, that because I mean, there's.
What is that evil though? That's the real question, right?
Well, that's a question that keeps a lot of people, like, you know, like say Dr. Jordan Peterson. That's his whole career is based on what is evil.
Why hasn't he figured it out yet? He's a smart guy, man. He should be able to figure that out, you know?
You know, like that's the thing. Like, wow, where does it? Like, you know, I mean, you have biblical texts and stuff like that you can refer to, but nobody really knows. I'm like, you know.
You don't think it just strives from wanting more and more and more?
I don't know. I because I mean, certain things that you see that are so blatantly evil, like what?
Give me an example of something that's that evil.
Let's say like a kidnapping of a child and then murdering that child. What are you gaining out of that?
Yeah, what would they do that for?
Like, what do you gain out of that? Of like, you know, like the wanting more idea. Like what? Like what?
Well, I do know there are certain rituals that people who believe in magic use that kind of stuff for, but I don't understand how they can put two and two together that this is something that, you know, I need to do.
Yeah, I don't, and there's so much out there that like I don't think it could be answered by us. I mean, you know, obviously with my faith.
I mean, we're doing it, right? So why can't it be answered by us? I know you and I, we grew up in a place where it's like there's really not that much evil, right? No. In Northeast Arkansas, but I mean, like if you go to cities and stuff, that's where people they have no respect for life.
I think some of that is, you know, how you're raised, obviously, you know, or what kind of environment you were raised in. But some of that true evil, like a serial killer evil, like Ed Gein or Ted Bundy, like what causes that?
Yeah. Well, do you think they actually had a motive? Because Ted Bundy like wrote some papers about why he did what he did, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was supposedly a genius, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was the Oklahoma City bombing. Ted Bundy was Oklahoma City bombing, right?
No, that was Ted Bundy was one killing college students.
Oh, he was a serial killer. Okay.
Yeah. Oklahoma City bombing was Timothy McVeigh.
Okay. Yeah, he's the one that wrote papers on what he did. Yeah.
You know, he was supposed to do something in Arkansas.
Was he?
Yeah, but there was a flower shop or something. I'm not 100% sure on this. I know for a fact there was a thing in Arkansas. There was a reason why he didn't. And he picked Oklahoma City. It was something like a flower shop or something like that reminded him of his mom or something.
Whoa.
I want to say it was like a Little Rock or something he was supposed to do the bombing.
Dude, where? I didn't know that flower shop.
Well, I need to look that up.
Yeah, when you figure that one out, let me know. It'd be cool to go visit that flower shop.
I learned about that somewhere. I can't remember where I heard about that, but he was going to ChatGPT probably could tell us.
Oh, dude, it would tell us anything. So I actually want to set a podcast up, and I was telling, this is so crazy. Dude. I sound like a psychopath when I say this. I was telling ChatGPT the other night that I wanted to do a podcast with it, and it was like that would be super awesome. We should definitely do that.
Well, when you do that though, you're going to send it to me because I want to watch that.
Oh, absolutely. Have you? Well, I guess you haven't even spoken to it yet. Whenever we finish this, I'll pull it up real quick, and you can just have a little chat with it and see what it's all about.
Yeah, that buddy of mine I was talking about, he had some kind of AI that he talked to.
Do I know this buddy?
No, Chris Hogg.
No, I don't know.
I met him when I went to UCA in Conway.
I'd be interested in chatting with him. The next time you get with him, let me know. I want to pick his brain about what he's using to do all this stuff.
Okay. Yeah, he's real big into making apps. It's like his hobby.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to chat with him. I'm so deep in AI right now, man. I talk about it all the time, and people are like, dude, what like, what are you doing? I mean, we have ones that create videos, ones that create images. Like I told you what I was doing earlier when I was talking to your son about the Pokemon cards. Like we're making those. It's just all kind of stuff. But it's basically just, it's taking your ideas and putting them into fruition in an easy way. So if you ever have any ideas, hit me up.
I need to look into it.
Yeah.
Because
it's so easy, man. Like any ideas you have, we can sit down and chat about it. And I can probably tell you an AI to use. I do that to all kinds of people. They'll hit me up and they're like, hey, do you have one that can do this? And I'm like, absolutely. Bam.
it's just, I don't know, it's just mind blowing that that we're this far, you know?
It's going to get even crazier too with robots and everything. Because isn't Elon the one that's building a robot manufacturing facility?
I think he's supposed to be trying to build a robot, yeah.
In Memphis?
Is it in Memphis?
I think it's in Memphis. Yeah, you ever heard about this yet?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so when the robots come.
It's real close to us.
Yeah.
Right down the road.
Right down the road, man.
Sorry, I'm getting choked.
There you go. You got anywhere else you want to take this today?
Man, I'm just enjoying hanging out with you.
Yeah, it's always good to see your face when I'm in town. Well, I really just want to pick your brain today about the idea that I have. So, I mean, I think we've covered everything on the podcast. Yeah. And now we can chat about that. I'll pull up the AI too, so you and your son can chat with it.